Florida. Florida man gets a DUI after he crashed his lawnmower while drunk into a police car. The guy's had a suspended license since 1978.
That's the George Jones.
About that Beavis and Butthead episode where they bought that lawnmower.
Yeah, that's the George. I lived in Nashville for a long time, and that's the George Jones. That's what we call the George Jones, because George didn't have his license, and George got a DUI driving his lawnmower into town. That's the classic country movie.
Well, and there's a viral video of this guy named Steve. Now, I'm sure it was created as a viral video, but they make it look like, you've got it looks like a dashboard cam from the cop, and the guy's like, Steve, you got to get off the lawnmower, man. He goes, you've been drinking? He's like, I know my rights. I know my rights.
That DUI guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny.
Pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a weird one. Thailand.
Wait, I got inspired by that. I mean, what's the dumbest thing you've driven high or drunk? Thinking about power machinery, because you guys, I know you're a power machinery guy, and I've done some.
A chick named Linda.
She was a big piece of machinery.
Chick named Linda. That's the most bizarre thing I've ever driven.
You realize when you sobered up how dangerous it was, right?
Oh,
dude,
I knew. I actually, to be honest with you, I was fully aware it was dangerous at the time.
Right.
I just.
In my past profession, I've drove a lot of machinery drunk. A 50-ton forklift. I've drove.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the big forklifts with the big air horn.
Right.
I've drove a lot of shit drunk. And nowadays, I look back on that, and it's like we're working the first step earlier. I'm like, that was a fucking huge mistake.
Yeah.
And I think I did run some stuff over, and I was like, it'll be fine. We'll just bend it out with a beater.
I didn't really drive anything weird. I don't think I really drove any. Well, actually, now that I think about it, that's not true. I drove a post office Jeep one time.
But that's all right. Federal property.
Breaking the law.
Yeah. Breaking the law.
That's a federal offense, Bruce.
Right.
How about you?
Me? I was just a conventional guy. Skateboards and cars. So that's all.
Yeah, I didn't drive any. It's not like I lived out in like Oklahoma or something. And I got on some fucking combine harvester or something. 48 tons. 48 tons.
You tilled 70 acres of the neighbor's soybeans.
Right. I was going to say not only am I harvesting my shit, I'm harvesting everybody else's shit too.
So almighty in there.
Bruce is he's carving a big bee in the guy's yard next to him. There's an 80-acre bee
and you know what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to claim it's alien crop circles. Right. The cops are like, "Did you do that?" I'm like, "No," and they're like,
"It looks like a bee."
This harvester that's sitting right here says you did because all the soybeans, you're growing corn, but all the soybeans in your thing says you were in your neighbor's property. I'm like, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens. All right, we got one more here. So, let's see, which one should I do? There's the naked women. There is. Oh, we better do this one. Pennsylvania. 3 men sentenced to 41 years. We were talking about this the other night for having sex with horses, cows, goats, and dogs.
Oh, wow.
Because, believe it or not, and this made boozy news like maybe 3 years ago, Florida finally outlawed bestiality like 3 years ago. Yeah. So these guys
made it a felony.
These guys were like, but hey, it was always okay before. And then one of these guys, 31, 34, and 41, all arrested, charged with having sex with 9 horses, a cow, a goat, and a bunch of dogs over the past 5 years. They had a teenage boy that was forced to restrain the animals while the men engaged in their acts.
Do you have to put the horses through therapy over shit like that, or is it like like people? Or
I don't think they're gonna feel it. I don't think the horse is gonna.
I think would be.
I don't think there's a lot there unless you're cranking it like a Model T. I don't really think you're. I mean, and you really got to be cranking the hell out of it.
I mean,
probably even let that horse know that you're there. So what I mean, my
That
big
was the
question is, first
first
of all,
thing I was
are
wondering.
they females? Because there's a difference between bestiality and homo bestiality, which is a totally different
It
subject.
didn't say.
You see
It
that?
didn't
I mean,
say.
that's what I'm wondering. That and the breakdown financially.
and
Does it cost more to do a horse?
I was
than a
wondering,
dog?
and I was wondering the very same thing you commented. I'm like, are you just hung or what? Because otherwise, the horse is like, I
or
don't even
what?
know anything's happening.
It's or what? It's or what? I mean, you're not hung like a horse because literally that would mean you're not.
Yeah, you're like 3.5
You're
feet
not.
long.
Yeah, you're not. You're as big as the hookah. You're not. You know, you're not hung like a horse. So are you affecting the horse at all? No.
There are
No,
there.
you're not.
You know, I mean, I'm telling you, like even guys like Tommy Lee. Still, I think the horse is like
The horse, no,
yeah,
no. I'm wondering about the financial breakdown. I mean, who's getting? You know, are you getting 3 for the dog, 12 for the horse, 12 for the
my
horse,
cut? Yeah.
3 for the dog? I mean, is it an equal dispersion of time?
Is this like
I
red
don't
light
know.
district? Is this
I
like-
don't know.
There's
Is it
a
Pennsylvania.
Because who knows? Maybe people are like, look, dude, we really like our goats there. You're going down for the goats. So, you know, you can do the horse. We don't care.
going down.
Because Pennsylvania, I mean, this is Amish territory. They might be like the goat. They might be like the cow, the horse thing. It's not so shocking.
Once you get out of Pittsburgh and Philly, there's not a whole lot in Pennsylvania.
I've heard stories.
And you know what? Here I was talking about it being Florida. It's not Florida. It's Pennsylvania.
Jeez.
I'm wondering. I you know what I saw the pictures of the guys, though. They were definitely not Amish.
Right.
Grunschwaller.
Yeah.
Grunschwaller.
What's the other one though? There's Amish and then there's
Mennonite.
Mennonites.
Mennonites.
They're
Yeah.
Mennonites. They're
Two different groups.
Yeah, they're a little bit more.
They all got the beard.
rough, aren't they?
None of these guys look like they were in any kind
religious
of
sect.
No, because
members of any
you know
religious
this guy's
sect.
got like his Budweiser shirt on, and I'm like, oh man.
I mean, I'm
That kind of
gonna
party, huh?
take a second and speak up for the Amish. I was fortunate enough to make friends with some when I lived in New York, and they're really so busy having sex with their wives and making babies to work on the farms, they don't have time to do the animals.
That's fantastic. You know
They
what? I
are not-
wanted.
Man, they had families of like 18, 21. They'll have kids till uteruses fall out and the babies are walking around with a single cyclops eye.
When I was- when I was like 25.
because they're farm hand. They need more help on the farm. They've got to keep reproducing.
When I was like 25, all I wanted to do was go back to the edge of some Amish town and wait for Grunschwaller so the girls
Right.
all come out, because I'm like, hell yeah. Never made it back there, but God, I really. There was a movie, and shit, I can't remember who it is, but the guy in the movie was in The Spy Who Loved Me or The Spy Who Shagged Me or whatever.
Those are two
And,
totally different pieces.
Right, but he did this movie, and what happened was John Cusack is in this movie too, and he has stolen his brother's car to go meet this girl. Oh, you know what it is? It's called The Sure Thing. And he's going to go get this chick, and he's going to meet this chick, but they're going through Amish country, and he totally fucks the car up. He breaks the car down. And you know, they're like, oh, what are we going to do? All the guys around here are fucking Amish. What do we do? And this one guy is like, oh, and he says what kind of car it is. He's like, oh, so it's the Dodge Challenger, blah, 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 442. And he's like, how do you know this? He goes, oh, when I was on Grunschwaller, I went out and I started working on classic cars. So they're towing this thing in with these two Clydesdales, you know, and he fixes it. But, you know, I saw that movie. I'm like, Grunschwaller, because they show these chicks going out, and they're just going out and immediately hopping in the sack with everything they could find. And I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, that's me right there. I need that.
Is that called trolling these days?
I don't know, man. When I was in Kansas, I was working up there, and a buddy came to work, and he said he saw an ad in the paper. Like the Amish took an ad in the paper out. So their bloodline's running out.
Well, what they do too is they want you to stay because you want to stay. So they let these girls go out, and girls and guys go out when they're teenagers for like a year. And if you come back, it's all good. And if you don't come back, then they never want to hear from you again.
Yeah.
So
you're
yeah.
exiled, right?
It's kind of like what we
The
did.
tribe has spoken.
Right. Yeah, we did that. I think we did that at 15 and 16.
Yeah.
Kind of went out there and saw what was going on.
Can you imagine now, Grandpa in the corner with the shotgun while you're, you know?
I wish somebody cared.
There's a great.
I wish somebody cared in 15.
There's a great
funny stuff, but,
there's a great country song from some dude named Dierks Bentley called "What Was I Thinking," and I'm like, yeah. His daddy's sitting in a lawn chair with a 12 gauge waiting for him to come home. All right, so my friends, that is the end of the boozy news and the news not fit for booze.
Amazing. That was amazing.
This is Bruce with Recovery 101 Radio. Recovery 101 Radio is brought to you in part by the new CoolFMOnline.com. Amazing music variety from the 50s through today in pop, rock, country, and more. Download this app to the Google Play or Apple Store now by putting in Cool FM Online in the search engine. You can also go to CoolFMOnline.com. Cool classics, hot variety.
We're back. Welcome back, everybody. This is normally where I piss Shelly off and do like the Welcome Back Cotter song because she hates
Welcome
that.
Back.
Yeah, oh, dude, she just, if she even hears that.
Ticket out.
Yeah. Welcome back. Yeah.
Why does she hate that?
To the same old place that you laughed about. Oh, no, she hates it. And we were talking about gambling on the break, and the weirdest thing is, what's his name? Gabe Kaplan, huge freaking poker player.
Gabe is a everything.
Yeah.
Gabe plays everything. So yeah. That's like those, really watching the gambling and I grew up in a gambling town and seeing it and I was thinking when we were talking about the guy that had won, 13 grand or something like that. And I think about the best example of gambling as an addiction was there was a guy that was in the program for AA and he was still gambling.
Right.
And he would win $3 grand and his face was, I won $3 grand today. Okay. I lost, and then you'd see him a couple days later. I lost $6 grand today. Face was the same. Week later, I'm up $8 grand for the month. Same face. And you see that during the course of his thing, and whether he was down 10 or up 10 or down 6 or up 8, it was the same flat emotion. And
right.
It was, we talk about like getting higher and higher and how the first high is never as good as the high that we're on now. And I saw that at an early age, to see that the gambling high is that same type of high where, you are not going to get high enough with gambling. And again, it's one of the things that kept me away from it, even though I grew up and I know how to do it and I know how to do them all. And I realized that high, you can never duplicate the high. Even if you win $6 grand, if you have an addictive personality, especially a person like me, when I've won a few grand at the track, it's been like, how can I turn this into 40 grand where, you were talking about it, where you would walk away if you won $68.
Right.
It's like, Jesus
and I'm
Christ,
like, I'm like happy as fuck.
And you're happy as fuck.
I'm like, yeah.
I win $2 grand. I won $2 or $3 grand one time, and I'm like, I can turn this into $45,000 tonight, right now.
We used to have a guy on the show, and his name was Mark. And lived in California, still in California. He's got years and years. He's got way more time than me. He's got like 35 years. And he when we went to do our big convention, for which wasn't big, but we were going to have this convention for Recovery 101. He goes and he knows like all kinds of like Vegas hotel owner guys, and he'll be like, okay, I got his like 12 rooms over here, and and I'm like, oh, damn. And so I'm talking to him one time, and he's like, well, I used to play a lot, and I'm like, what's a lot? And he goes, I dropped 40 grand in a night, but like the next day I'll win 60 grand. And I'm like, what? And I'm listening to this, I'm like, it's a fucking year's salary, man. I'm like, really? Because it's like people that talk to coke addicts or something. They're like, you did that much cocaine? And it's like they just don't get it. And I'm like, 40. Now, if you had said, I'm going to go buy several kilos of cocaine and spend 40 grand, I'd be like, oh, I totally get it.
That's fine.
Totally get it.
That's fine.
Yeah, but why would you do that for gambling? And I'm like, wait a minute. Oh,
the high is this.
Why would I do that for
never get
drugs?
That high, you can't never reach that first high, and that's what it is. You can't ever get back there again.
So, by the way,
all the time.
I was reading a thing, was talking about. What happened was, the way this happened is a former show host and I were talking on the phone the other day. I was at work, and I said, hey, whatever happened to so-and-so? And he goes, oh, yeah, dude. And this guy had like 20-something years. Mm-hmm. He's on Megan's list now. He owned a sober living.
Do you know what Megan's list is? We're going to tell you in a second.
Yeah. Okay. So Megan's list is like for sexual predators, basically.
It's not the dean's list.
No.
No. I think it's something cum laude, though. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure, but anyway. So there was this guy, and he owned this recovery facility, and